What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful.com. It is February 26th, and we have a stacked weekend here at Fightful.com. We had the Listen Ya Boy news podcast today. Check it out. Thursday, we have WWE Super Showdown, or as we call it, Alex?
Sands of Time.
It's been a while. Then on Friday, the Distraction podcast is back. SmackDown post-show. Then Saturday, AEW Revolution. Mr. Warren Hayes will be leading that podcast along with Jeff Hawkins. If you all want to check out my review, I'll be doing one when I get back from Chicago on FightfulSelect.com. I'll tell you more about Fightful Select later. While I have you here, if you're in Tampa for WrestleMania week, Sean Ross Sapp Served Tall, brought to you by Primetime Pro Wrestling. Thursday, April 2nd at American Legion Post 5. We just announced Tasha Steelz versus Faye Jackson. I am so excited for this match. This just adds to Jonathan Gresham, Fred Yehai. Check it out. The information is over at Primetime PW on Twitter. But we've got AEW and NXT to talk about. If you're watching live, you can donate a super chat, any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. You can leave a thumbs up. You can subscribe. You can tap the bell for notifications. But I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. One word, who won tonight? I'm saying, okay, I won't say one word. AEW in a landslide. Alex, what do you got as you swig one down?
I do. AEW.
And Warren?
AEW.
Dare I say, guys, this might have been one of the more one-sided evenings that we have ever seen in this iteration of the Wednesday Night Wars. Alex, you're usually on the NXT beat. How did you feel about this?
I mean, yeah. I'd like for them to do a little bit better, considering they're losing the ratings wars every time, and they're pulling out really lazy paint by numbers, let's get heat on the foreign heels bullshit. So yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of stuff they could do a lot better than this. They seem to be running back Gargano versus Ciampa again, which, I mean, okay, but there's other things to do. I mean, I'm looking forward to all of the K's matches next week, but for right now, tonight, it was like,
without spoiling NXT, because we're going to cover AEW first.
True.
Tim Traver sends a super chat, and he says, today is my wife and I's 12-year anniversary. Damn, this month was my wife and I's 12-month dating anniversary, so congrats to you, Tim. Very awesome. Rob Wilkins says, I would like SRS, Dead Guy, and Alex to give me your gut feeling. Is Matt Hardy going to AEW? By the way, Rob, I'll answer your NXT question as NXT happens. My gut reaction is, yeah, I think he is, Warren. What do you think?
First of all, speaking of dead, let's kill the meme, all right? The dead guy stuff. My God. That's my instinct, right? But especially with Evil Uno's very, very wink, wink, nudge, nudge tease tonight, I don't know if they're leaning into it too hard and just to swerve us. Because I still think that it would be logical for Matt Hardy to go back to Impact, which was the center of his career renaissance a couple of years ago. It would make perfect sense for him to go there, head to Ring of Honor. AEW, of course, is an option, but you know what? I'd like it. I think it'd make sense, but at this stage, I'm letting myself be surprised by what happens next.
Alex, any thoughts on that?
I think he is going, and that he should go, because I feel like they'd at least let him be creative, which is, I think the whole point is like he wasn't hired by WWE this last time to be creative for them.
Nope.
He was hired so he couldn't be creative for somebody else.
Sure.
And now he's going to be creative for something that looks like it's really rolling into form. AEW. So if he goes there and is able to work his creative magic, not only get himself over, but also other acts over like he could in Impact, it would be a huge boon for them.
I had somebody say, I don't think WWE screwed him over. And I'm like, yeah, they did. They did. After the Bray Wyatt angle, they sat him for 6 months. After Jeff got hurt, they sat him for 10 months. That they screwed him. That's the reason why they can't add more time to his deal, and they are adding to Jeff's. But let's talk about AEW. Kicked off with the 30-minute Iron Man match. This is the Kenny Omega that when he jumped, you said, okay, that's the guy. He's the one. This is the Kenny Omega that we saw against Okada. This is the Kenny Omega. This is him. And this pack is the pack that we've needed to see. And normally I'd be like, you know what? I don't need Pac taking losses like this. But considering the direction they're going, hot dog, Warren. This ruled. It went to a draw. And, you know, we want a clean winner or loser. And the pop that Justin Roberts got when he said, no, this is going to continue under sudden death rules. We're like, all right, this is AEW. This is how it should be. This is awesome. Omega wins with a one-winged angel. This ruled, Warren.
Anyone who finds a problem with this match is just out to nitpick and has something against fun. Because this match was...
Alex, what are you possibly going to bitch about?
Oh, I'll let Warren do all the setting the table, and I'll just say the thing that I wanted to say at the end. That's
Pac cannot lose.
No,
he cannot lose.
Say that.
This was, I mean, you basically said everything that I wrote in my notes. This is exactly the Kenny Omega that everyone was expecting to see in AEW, and we got him again tonight. They said it themselves. This is the third time that he and Pac fought in AEW. This is by far the best match that the two have had together. This is the match that we expected out of them during their first encounter, but we didn't quite get. There was something a little off with it, and this was it tonight. My God, man, my God! It starts off so. We get great wrestling. We get some incredible spots. I loved how early on, Omega tries to get the one-winged angel, and Pac reverses out of it with a brutalizer, or at least a brutalizer attempt, which I thought was fantastic. The top rope brainbuster, my God! And I was like, okay, Kenny Omega wants to die tonight, and that was compounded.
I think he did several times.
Wait, he definitely died on the Falcon Arrow off the apron. Jesus, my God. There's the shooting star press through the table. You know what? We don't put over Pac enough as being one of the all-time greats. That guy can do it all. He can do everything. He's strong. He can fly, and he can sell like no one else. I adored how the match was booked with Pac. Those chair shots. The chair shots were incredibly sick with the side of the chair right on the head. Fantastic stuff. Not exactly a chair shot to the head, right? It's like that thin line where it looks brutal enough, and we're not breaking any rules. No one's getting a concussion tonight. I loved how it was booked that Pac took one win just to get the immediate win after that, which is much better than another fairly recent 30-minute Iron Man match where we had all these pinfall attempts, we got like 7 or 8 in a row. This was masterfully done. I love the twist at the end. This was so good. We were spoiled tonight.
Alex, I know that you wanted Ember Moon to win this.
No, not that one either. No, it wasn't that. I believe that Pac is absolutely on the level of Kenny Omega.
He is
on his best night. He's on the same level, and Kenny Omega may be the best in the world. That you have two of legitimately the top 5 guys in the world right now. I mean, I don't know. I would be struggled to find 10 guys better than either of these two. I loved everything up until sudden death, and then it was
Alex.
And then it was like, well, it seems like neither of these guys know it's going to be sudden death if it goes to a draw. And it's like the WrestleMania 12 match where the guy has somebody else in a submission and it goes to a time limit draw and then immediately loses. Like it feels like it's kind of punishing. It's booked to punish the guy. Like Pac won the 30 minutes, and then he got caught because he didn't realize that they were going to start the match immediately, and then lost the thing. It looked like I wish they had done at least, I don't know, 2 to 3 minutes of sudden death overtime, as opposed to it's overtime, it's over. That I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
I mean, it's like sports. It's like real sports where you have, this one team who's working really hard, but the other team's defense is just too harsh.
Yes.
And then you get to overtime, and then all of a sudden, whoopsie doopsie, it's the other team that gets the final score.
You know what they had to do?
Who?
In the NFL, they had to change the overtime rules so that you couldn't immediately win in overtime. The other guys get a chance to have the ball.
I don't care about the NFL.
Not if you score a touchdown.
It's pro wrestling. This was fine. This was a great story. It was fantastic. And you know what else on top of that? It took Kenny Omega he had to use both of the Golden Lovers finishers to put Pac away at the same time, which I thought was a nice touch. There you go, Alex Pawlowski.
And Pac's consolation prize for losing this feud with Kenny Omega is a joke feud with Orange Cassidy.
That ain't a joke feud.
What are you talking about?
That ain't a joke feud.
It's a joke feud.
You gotta. You are smoking that Milwaukee Kush.
Absolutely.
The guy. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You have Pac, who is going to be fighting Orange Cassidy, one of the most over wrestlers in the company, who has not wrestled a single match. His first AEW match on pay-per-view is against Pac. How is this a joke, Alex?
Orange Cassidy has the ultimate curmudgeon, Chris D'Elia. The ultimate curmudgeon going, this is the dopest shit I've ever seen.
Because Orange Cassidy is a comedy character.
Kind of.
No, he is. No, he's entirely a comedy character. He gets to I love Orange Cassidy, but he's entirely a comedy character, and Pac is brutally serious. And you're forcing him to change who he is in order to have a match.
Alex Pawlowski.
I'm just saying.
I am taking away your Broserweight card if you dare continue down this route, saying, "Hey, the serious guy and the goofy guy can't work together." Alex, I'm telling you, be careful.
I look at this and I see Pac as the ultimate foil to Orange Cassidy because Pac hates everything that Orange Cassidy stands for. And the thing is, that was a part of the discussion later. Like, Chuck was like, oh, he's going to take it serious. And Trent's like, well, no, we didn't say that. We can't promise that. We can't guarantee it. And there's intrigue to this to me. This is something that I feel like WWE main roster lacks so much. We're seeing a first in so many different ways here. We don't know what we're getting out of Orange Cassidy. But the thing is, a lot of people want to see it. They want to find out what they're going to get out of Orange Cassidy. And I think that's just masterful. But I mean, what about like Ishii and Yano? How about anybody versus Yano? Like, that happens all the time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, obviously my bias towards Pac is showing because I believe he's one of the top 5 guys in the world. And I don't want to sit by and watch. If they're not going to introduce a mid-card title that he can compete for, I don't want to sit by and watch him like absent from the title picture for more than like 6 more months. Like he's too good.
I think this is a good spot for him though, because he's in there with one of the most over people in period.
Yep. Right.
If this were him versus, I don't know, all due respect to Alex Silver, but if it were Alex Silver or John Silver, whichever the hell, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, if it was any combination of them or both, I'd have a big problem with it. Kevin Langhoff says, Alex versus Warren, the real Wednesday night war. Me and Alex used to go at it like this every Monday.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
It was good shit. Good shit. So nothing new here. Inner Circle. Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz take on Jurassic Express. They win. Jurassic Express wins. Marco Stunt got his ass whipped as he should have. But Darby Allin shows up, causes a distraction. This is the kind of distraction I'm okay with, because Darby Allin didn't just walk out there and be like, hey, here I am, what's up? He took something from Sammy. Sammy's like, huh? And that causes the win. Also, Taz selling that Snap Hurricane Rana was really good because it looked like it was nasty on Jungle Boy. But also, I like a Snap Hurricane Rana winning a match. I dug this, thought it was fine. Luchasaurus is looking better and better each time out. He had that hamstring injury, and quite honestly, I wasn't convinced for a while that he was 100%. He's looking a lot better. Warren, what'd you think of this?
I love this match. I thought it was amazing. It was a really, really good trios match. I love the opening sequence where you had all sorts of triple team offense from both teams, from Jurassic Express and then from the Inner Circle. I thought it was really, really well laid out. And you know what? It had energy, and the guys were working, and anyone should have been terrified to go after Pac and Omega, but look at these guys come in and tear it up. This was not a cool down match. It just blew my mind at how good it was immediately after, arguably already one of the best matches of the year so far, especially for a TV match. It was fantastic. I loved the triple the triple super kick spot that Jurassic Express did, each guy going from the corners. I don't remember them doing that before, but I really think they should add that to their arsenal as they continue competing as a trio, because they set each other up. It can quickly turn into a crowd favorite spot. I really, really liked it. I thought this was a fantastic match. I loved it.
Evan Wright says AEW needs a trios title after the mid-card title's put in. I would hold off on that for a while. I do think that AEW has an abundance of tag teams, as we're about to talk about after this as well. I definitely think we got to wait and see how that second TV show hashes out. Like, what's that going to be? Maybe, if so, maybe then you consider it. How much is their roster going to grow? Well, we'll wait and see. I do like the idea of running a trios or faction-based organization. It works exceptionally well for New Japan. I think WWE, when they do it, it helps out a lot too. It gives you a reason for some of these combinations. And like 2 months ago, Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins would have sounded absolutely fun, but not made a lot of sense. Now it makes a lot of sense. So I'm open to that idea, but I want to see them hash out this mid-card title first, because they do have a tag title already. Speaking of the tag titles, Best Friends defeated Butcher and the Blade with the Bunny. You have Orange Cassidy and the Bunny at it in the middle of the ring. When I see this, I kind of understand some of Alex's criticism, because this was very comedy-oriented, and I do feel like they leaned awfully heavily into Orange Cassidy on this evening. I like the Best Friends getting the win, but man, Butcher and the Blade are just a nothing right now, Warren.
Which is odd, because they had a really strong showing in the Battle Royal, right? They were one of the last teams, and I thought that it was a making performance for them, because they did come across as dominant. They tossed out a bunch of teams. I felt they looked really, really good. And honestly, I thought they were going to get the win over Best Friends, who is a team that I really like. Don't get me wrong. I really like Trent. I'm a big Trent guy. I think Chucky T is, he's self-aware enough in the ring to just make him entertaining. I like the combination. I always did. But it's a weird decision. I really thought that Butcher and the Blade should have gone over. I think they needed it a little more than Best Friends. It's not as if Best Friends winning helps Orange Cassidy going into the pay-per-view. It's an odd decision. I'm glad that they won, don't get me wrong, but it's just a little strange.
Alex, I know you seem to enjoy Sirloin Beef Sons of Bitches Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
What do you think about them being beaten over and over again?
It's I don't know. I mean, they're AEW's answer to the Ascension. I mean, like I don't
Getting a lot of comparisons in the chat to that, actually, as you mentioned that.
I don't know. Like, it's a weird thing. Like here's the thing. A few weeks ago there was a segment. Honestly, it might have been my favorite thing that AEW has ever done. It was MJF and Wardlow walking into the back room of the butcher shop, and handing them, like, no words were exchanged, and handing the bunny an envelope full of cash, just said Young Bucks on it. And I was like, that's awesome.
That's old wrestling right there.
Those two dudes could not be less good at that job. Like, the idea that they're being paid to beat up people and take them out and just losing all the time. Did they have to give the cash envelope back? Like, they should have a refunds policy in the case if they go out there and get their asses beat. But I love the idea of just two dudes who, like, don't care about wins and losses, but they will hurt people. Like, that's cool, because that's what they're in it for. They're in it for the money. So you can beat them, but after the match, they're going to come at you with a baseball bat or something. Like, do something with it.
I would like to see that.
It's kind of weird.
I would like to see it explained sometime with some talent, that more successful talent leverage their deals to keep their friends on the roster, because otherwise, why is Peter Avalon still there? Like, if he's owing $1 billion, if Brandon Cutler's owing $1 billion, well, got to say, oh, well, the Bucks keep Brandon Cutler around because it's their buddy. And, like, MJF needs to say that to them. Like, I need a reason why an 0-16 guy doesn't drop a league, so to speak. And I think, like, if MJF says, well, the only reason that they're here is because I said that they had to be, or else they might lose me too, that would make a lot more sense. But after this, we get the Orange Cassidy news that he's going to face Pac. And Tony goes, are you going to take it seriously? And he just gives a... But I got to talk about a couple things that AEW just knocked out of the park. Jesus Christ. There's a video package airing between the history of Cody and MJF. And it's a video package. It's cool. It's good. We didn't need to see them on this episode. I think it works. We see a Dark Order video where they say the Exalted One is near. Evil Uno says they'll take care of SCU at AEW Revolution. And they throw in a little Matt Hardy hint. They say that they'll be obsolete. And then we get a sit-down interview. But before we get into the sit-down interview, let's talk about these video clips. Warren, AEW does this so well.
Their video production is top-notch. You cannot... You can't say anything against it. The MJF and Cody stuff, like you said, you know, it retraces the story. At the same time, we don't really need to have the story retraced, or at least look. Hang on, let me start over. WWE does these packages because they oftentimes are able to manipulate a narrative into something cohesive where you're like, oh, well, when you put it all together like this, it makes sense, right? Whereas the entire Cody MJF feud has been so meticulously well put together week after week. We don't really need a package. Be like, hey, remember when these guys were friends? They used to hang out. They were buddies. And then the bad stuff happened. And then MJF did these stipulations. Everything about this feud has been about real credible moments, from Cody's insanely good promos, but there's one in particular that we all remember about, to him moonsaulting off a cage. Everything bloody, you know. It's just been really good. We didn't need it, but it was still good to see. It was well done. And as for the Dark Order, this is how the Dark Order works. Cryptic messages, threatening stuff, just little tidbits like this. We don't know where they are. We don't know exactly what environment they're in. We didn't need more than that. It was dark enough. It was weird enough, and it worked. And yeah, I mean, saying Christopher Daniels, we're gonna take care of you. After that, you'll be obsolete. Cut to black. Oh my God. Okay. Whoa. Yeah, they're leaning into it hard, and they should, regardless of whether Matt Hardy's going. They should.
They announced the signing of Lance Archer, who course, also rumored. Brody Lee is rumored. There's a lot of people rumored. And if I were them, I would lean into all the rumors. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
And now, not to break up the like fest here, but there was a 4-way match. Yuka Sakazaki, Big Swole, Hikaru Shida, Shayna, and I think Sakazaki and Shida looked really good. There was an awful lot of spin, twirl, duck, twirl, duck. I like all these women, but there's an awful lot of that, like duck under something, spin around, hit, duck, twirl, spin, and I'm like, okay, it can't be that all the time. It cannot be there all the time. And I do not know who's producing this match or agenting it, but somebody needs to say that. I can't watch that every time and have it result in a strike like that. That sounds the same as every other strike that I hear them do after that as well. There needs to be some parity. That was one of my top criticisms of Lucha Underground. Every kick sounded exactly the same. Why was that? Because they edited it to sound the same in post-production. Nothing sounded unique. I want things to feel and seem unique. Hikaru Shida got the win, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I've got an enhancement stories, a Big Swole that's been sitting in the can for 2 years. I'm just waiting for that title shot she gets so I can release it, and you all can hear about how she gave Nia Jax a receipt during their match. But it ain't gonna be now. It looks like Hikaru Shida is getting that little nudge. What'd you think of this, Warren?
I thought it was rough. I thought I agree with you, and there were, I'd even go as far as to say that there was a lot of posturing, but there wasn't a lot of fighting. A lot of setting stuff up, a lot of like you said, a lot of dodging and rolling around. Lots of hey, let's try to do so. Four women offense, some reversals in and out of stuff a lot. Whereas I think the match could have really it could have benefited from having more one-on-one spots, just two women fighting, just giving some time to breathe. I don't like when, this was a criticism with the Battle Royal, the Tag Team Battle Royal. I don't like it when, there's someone in the ring and they're just lying under the apron and they're not knocked out or anything. They're just like lying there and looking at the match. That happened a couple of times. And, I love Big Swole. I think she has a lot to contribute to the women's division. Her offense is strange sometimes. Like when she strikes, sometimes it looks like she's pulling her punches, like she's going in a little soft or like she hesitates. It's strange sometimes. Whereas other times she just lays in. But other moments, I don't know. It was the odd man out tonight, and it was a women's match. However, I did appreciate Excalibur putting his weeb cred on full blast to JR, referencing Hakushan Daimao on television, and JR just shutting down. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Explaining what anime is. Mwah, chef's kiss. I adored that.
Evan Wright says, popped hard for Yuka's TJPW theme on Dynamite. I'll say this. Every time I watch Big Swole work and I see her body language and selling, I think she can be a transcendent star. I think she can be an anchor of that division. Alex, please tell me that you saw this sit-down interview.
I was watching it, but I forget what was going on NXT at the same time. But that's my job to cover NXT. So I was watching it, and I was like, I love the idea. The one thing, part of it that I love the most was Paige's getting pissy at Omega about like, so this was all just some kind of accident, like didn't even care, just happened to be there, huh? And I loved Omega's like, no, but you understand, like we rose like really quickly. We came from nothing. And like I loved all of that, but like the testiness between all of this has been fantastic. Paige's like sink into like realizing these dudes are all full of themselves. He doesn't really want to be a part of this club anymore. Like I'm not kind of out of it now. I loved all of that, of him becoming self-aware. I just, and yet still don't love that it includes the casual alcoholism as well. Like you could do all of this stuff without having him have to have a drink in his hand.
Well, that's the thing. The Young Bucks got mad that he brought a drink. Like, why Why would you do that type of thing? I do like that it's not being used as a crutch, as like a ha ha ha. They're like,
Right.
what are you doing type of thing. Warren, I thought this was amazing. They said that Hangman Page was a jobber before they got a hold of him.
Nick Jackson says, you were a jobber in Ring of Honor. We made you a star. My God. If the Young Bucks are not the heels in this entire situation, I don't know what I'm watching. I don't like the Young Bucks, and that's fantastic because Adam Page is right. The thing is that Adam Page is right. The Young Bucks are sitting there and they're saying, yeah, you know, there's this between us, but we're friends, you know, the tag titles, but you know, the tag titles, we're in the elite and the elite is bigger than all of this. Adam Page is like, hey, I told you guys weeks ago I wanted out of the elite and you didn't listen to me. What are you talking about? This is bigger than the elite. What about me? I think it's great. And what I love about all of this, when Hangman started getting pissy with Omega, he was holding his drink and he had the title like just propped up against his waist. Well, then he flips the title over to the side and he puts his drink on. He starts using it as a coaster. And I don't know if you guys noticed that. Oh. Everything that Adam Page does in this entire feud is so subtle and just simple things. It is so refreshing to see things in wrestling that aren't overblown and cartoonish and shoved down your throats.
Babyface heel, babyface heel.
Exactly.
Smile.
You have to look at Adam Page's entire reactions, his body language, where he turns to Jerry. He's like, "Wait, what do you mean I'm uncomfortable? I'm not uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable." You know, it's like everything about this sit-down interview was amazing. And if you don't think Adam Page is going to be a singles superstar for AEW moving on, you're completely delusional. You haven't been watching the same thing. It's so good. If this whole title tag team title situation, if all it was designed for was to get Adam Page over as a top babyface in the company, then they did it with such majesty. They not only was the storyline great, but they rehabilitated Adam Page's character from something that was becoming quite stale into a hot act. This is fantastic.
There are so many people in AEW that are big names, and I wouldn't even call it shades of gray. You get to decide whose side you're on. Not a lot really changed about Cody. He hugged his brother after they fought. And he moved on to something else. Omega, the Bucks, Hangman Page, there's you could find benefits and detriments to all that. And I love it. I just think they're doing that really, really well.
They really are.
Oh, I thought they did this main event weigh-in really well, too. They brought Gary Michael freaking Capetta, who I identify with just my earliest wrestling memory is seeing Ric Flair standing on one turnbuckle, Great Muta on the other, cage match, Sting climbs up, tears out his knee. That's the era that I was like, what is this? And Gary Michael Capetta was around for a lot of that. And he was
Capetta's one of the reasons WCW went under, though.
Yeah. Well, he was with it tonight. He's more with it tonight than Bret Hart was when he came and did his AEW appearance. He didn't stumble. He was great. And they do this weigh-in. The Inner Circle's doing the goddamn Gracie family train. It's so corny and ridiculous, but they are taking it so seriously because they're doofy sons of bitches. Moxley weighs in at 234 pounds. No, first off, he ain't. First off. But Moxley ends up headbutting him. Dustin Rhodes runs out. Darby Allin runs out. There's a big brawl. Jericho ends up dropping Moxley with the Judas effect. And Jericho then hit Moxley with a paradigm shift onto the scale. I thought this was real good stuff, Warren.
As part of the Warren Hayes lore, contract signings are the devil. And I had a lot of people tweeting at me in the lead up. It was like, maybe this is going to be like a contract signing, Warren. And then JR, just before going to it, he says, "We have a contract signing coming up." And like, okay, I'm triggered for real now. Thank you very much.
I'm waiting.
But
This just hit me. Joey Ryan's penis party shouldn't have contract signings. They should have dick measuring contests. Because that's what all these are. They're dick measuring contests.
And
hey, I could think of a lot worse wrestling segments than Chris Jericho teasing that he's going to do a dick measuring contest.
Right.
I swear mine's bigger.
I have a question though. Is there a weight division that they're in that I'm not aware of?
No.
That was my main question here.
Like if Jericho had like 3 too many white Russians last week, can he not compete for the title? Like, I understand if it's like, here's a light heavyweight division. You've got to be under 225 pounds or whatever. That makes sense. They used to do a gimmick with Buddy Murphy on 205 Live. You have to do a weigh-in before every match because he was right at the limit.
Christian had to take a dump back in the day.
But in this case, the whole weigh-in thing seems like, okay, so great, we got the stats, but I don't know what that is. That just for the tail of the tape?
That is something I want to see in WWE as well. I want to see Christian pass off the chicken suit to somebody. and you got to have the Kurt Angle thing. Hey, my chicken suit again. The greatest call in Jim Ross's career is, those damn Dippin' Dots didn't do anything to anybody. That was good.
It's right up there with the $1 Million Princess has become a Dairy Queen. It's right up there.
Well, we have AEW Revolution on Saturday. We're going to make our predictions. We'll go through this fairly quickly. We have Pac versus Orange Cassidy. I got Pac winning this one unless something happens and Cassidy wins and it sends Pac down a very deranged, dangerous road. Alex, I just want to see you convulse right now.
Pac should win it, but one of my favorite things the Neville character, the bastard Neville character, did during his last run in WWE was when he lost the Cruiserweight Championship to Akira Tozawa for like 6 days. But the night after he lost it, he came out and it looked like he hadn't slept.
Yes.
Like he looked like The Walking Dead. He was so distraught by losing the title. So I can imagine him losing to Orange Cassidy would send him to a dark and scary place that he might not recover from, which would be cool for his character, because anything that makes him more of a bastard is good.
Perhaps a more creatively satisfying version of that as well, where you can do a little bit more. Warren, what do you got?
There's a great story to tell here with Orange Cassidy getting the win. I'm going to angle for that. I'm going to go for that because it's Orange Cassidy's first match. I think he needs to shut up a lot of haters, and there's something very satisfying about Orange Cassidy, the penultimate irony wrestler, defeating one of the most serious wrestlers, a guy that is objectively seen as one of the best and who was liked by all the purists, getting the loss. There's something very satisfying.
Jake Hager versus Dustin Rhodes. You would think that they had wrestled a bunch, but they've actually only wrestled one singles match on TV on WWE Main Event like 7-8 years ago, and it went 16 minutes. I think Jake Hager's winning this. Dustin Rhodes is bulletproof. Warren, Jake's winning.
I agree. Probably the match I'm least excited to see, but I mean, Dustin Rhodes has proven me wrong ever since he's been in AEW. So prove me wrong. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah,
Alex?
Hager should win.
Again, my whole thing with Jake Hager has been like, what is he there for? What is he there for if not to be the heavy who beats up people? And I feel Dustin Rhodes is kind of bulletproof. He doesn't need to win matches, but at the same time, like, I'm utterly unimpressed with Jake Hager so far, so I can't really pick him to win.
And so you're going with?
I'll go with Dustin Rhodes just because why not?
Sammy,
because screw Jake Hager.
Sammy Guevara against Darby Allin. Seems like Darby Allin's getting a bit of a push, so I think we're going to go with Darby Allin here. Alex?
Yeah, same thing.
Warren?
Oh, it's the most natural selection.
Cody versus MJF. Cody is the best babyface in wrestling. MJF, I think it's either him or Randy Orton up there, and that's... Don't give me no Baron Corbin shit, guys. It ain't close. You got this feud that's gone on for 4 months, and they haven't touched yet. That's special. Warren, who you think's going to win?
MJF.
I do too. I think it'll send him into a different stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Alex?
Yeah, no, he should win. I believe that he will as well.
Nyla Rose defends against Chris Statlander. Do you think it'll be Nyla Rose transitional champion? I mean, it seems like it'd be rough to have Chris lose 2 title matches in a row like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you wonder if AEW is maybe, I don't want to say uppity, but maybe uppity about a short title reign like that. Like, oh, well, we don't do that. Well, we don't know what they do yet. Alex, what do you think they'll do?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Nyla being a transitional champion, but a transitional to Chris Statlander, who, like, I still don't know what she is or does. Like, there's no like
Neither
build behind. Well, I mean, yeah, I know, but like but the idea is that basically probably it's because of the way that he treats her when she's in the ring. I don't know what, like, there's no like rising force behind that challenger. Makes me think, oh well, that's who they actually want the belt on, which is why they did a transitional thing to get it off of Rio to get it to her. That doesn't feel like this at all to me.
Yeah.
So I think you can give Nyla a good long run, let her be a beast until you have the right challenger to take it off of her.
Warren?
I think Nyla retains. This is a very odd match to put on. Like, it does feel like it was thrown onto the pay-per-view. We need a women's match. You know, we were talking about it last week when you had Swole and Statlander come out to sort of stare down Nyla Rose. I would have really liked them to fight it out for a number 1 contendership spot.
Tonight's match could have been a top contender match, and they could have ran Hikaru Shida. It seems weird that they would go right back to Chris Statlander unless they wanted her to win, because if she loses twice in a row, that's rough.
Yeah, but I don't see them taking it off Nyla Rose just yet.
Reminder, guys, leave a thumbs up on this video. It helps us out. Tap the subscribe. Hit the notifications bell. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page defend against the Young Bucks. I think this is Young Bucks time. I think this leads to Hangman and Omega. What says you, Warren?
I hope the Young Bucks do something sniveling and disgusting so that it is very clear that they are the worst people in AEW. And Hangman Page was right all along, and Kenny Omega is still stuck to find out what his allegiance is. I hope the logical point in the story is that the Young Bucks win.
Oh, and I'm excited for the boo-boo face gags on being the Elite after this, because Page is going to be upset that he lost the title. Alex? I
think you can do a thing with Young Bucks winning where they're not like, let's say, on their face being a heel, if you want to put it that way, like not being obvious with it, but like, oh no, a roll up where there's a confusion between Omega and Page, like they're just taking advantage of it and they want to win the titles, so there's nothing wrong with it. That's how they want to win, and they just did it that way. And then Page can be super pissed at Omega for that miscommunication and super pissed at the Bucks for taking advantage of it, and just be a man unto himself, an island. It'd be really cool if he's feuding with all 3 other guys at the same time.
Jericho versus Moxley, AEW World Championship. Warren, is it time for Chris Jericho to lose the championship?
It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is.
It's a real tricky one, but I don't think so. I don't think you take it off Jericho just yet. There's so much value to him being world champion and being the loudmouth jerk that he is. Give us another round with him and and Moxley raise the stakes for another big pay-per-view. I'm okay with that.
Now, I don't want to see them running back rematch when their pay-per-views are like 2-3 months apart. I think that's tough. And it's weird to think, because it feels so young, that Jericho's reign is 6 months in already. Because they do it so well, it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like we're clock watching with this type of thing.
I agree.
I think Mox wins, though.
You think? Yeah, I'm not sure it's time yet. I really don't. I think there's more gas. I think there's more gas here.
Alexander.
I agree that there is more they could do with Jericho. But what I was talking about with that rising force behind a challenger to the champion, that feels like Moxley's been having it for months now. Like this, he's been pushed toward this thing, always like on the precipice. You know, he's the guy who's gonna take it from Jericho. He is. It's a matter of when, and they can do it now or they can put it off for a couple of months. But he's the guy who's gonna take it off of Jericho. If he's not the guy, they're doing it wrong.
Guys, if you all want to support us directly, subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. One of our subscribers, Zachary Schimmel, he gets a plug during his tier, and he just said, I want you to plug the different tiers of Fightful Select at the bottom. Hey, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Tier 1 starts at $5 every week. You get Alex Pawlowski reviewing Raw and SmackDown, one of our more popular shows. Every Monday, I give you the Backstage Report podcast, which has exclusive backstage news that you'll only get at Fightful.com, contract, stats, injury updates. Every other week, I do the Q&A podcast. Once we hit 500 subs, I'll be doing that every week. Every month, myself and Warren or myself and Zach or somebody else does a retro review. We have a very interesting method coming up for our March edition that you guys are going to really dig. Every weekend, Steven Jensen does the Weekender podcast, which covers NWA, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Beyond, all that good stuff. UK, 205, lots of stuff there. You get exclusive news on that opening tier. You get the archives of the Dark Match commentary, where we do commentary over some WWE Dark matches. There's just a ton of stuff there. One tier up, you get a ton of early access stuff and merchandise, early access to our interviews, to our articles, to our columns, to our video interviews, to the Fightful Wrestling Weekly. Just a ton of stuff there. You get the Russo Reveals archives if you're into that kind of thing. Maybe you're not. The Stupid People Extended archives. Then you can go one up. You can even appear on podcasts. You can suggest topics for podcasts. Check it out. And also, remember, Thursday, we have the Sands of Time post-show podcast. Usually, that time slot on Thursdays belongs to our lead wrestling writer, Jeremy Lambert, and Joe Holbert. But they're going to be joining me on the post-show. So make sure you guys tune in. Now we have WWE NXT. Alex, your thoughts in totality on this show?
Disjointed, you know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, you know, there's some stuff to like and some stuff to not like. And usually there's way more stuff to like. And tonight that was not the case. There was just some stuff I was like, this doesn't seem to be going anywhere. This is a really weird booking decision, or this is really lazy creative, or whatever. It just didn't feel like NXT to me.
Felt like a lazy ass show, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. It doesn't bode well.
Cameron Grimes defeated Dominik Dijakovic. Warren, I know you're a proponent of the hat, and I like Cameron Grimes. But I don't know if the best way to get me interested in a program is to have a guy coming off of a loss lose some more. Damian Priest came out and cost Dominik Dijakovic the match, and when he was asked later why, he goes, because he's in my way, and now Keith Lee knows exactly what I want. And I'm like, was he in your way, though? Because, I mean, he did just lose, so I could see the match was a banger, match of the night. Sure.
I mean, like Keith Lee and Dijak like had that meeting of the minds in the ring, and Keith Lee said maybe we are going to fight forever.
Yeah.
So Priest said, no, I don't want you guys to fight forever. It's my turn now, which made sense that he did the attack.
It's like Keith Lee is there though. He works on the same brand.
Right.
Beat him up.
I suppose that's true. It all depends. It's all tactics. It's all tactics. I don't know if you can really do a surprise attack on Keith Lee and walk away with your life intact.
That would make it more impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I did like that they gave Cameron Grimes the win with a really great looking cave in on Dijak. Yeah. That was really cool looking.
Most of the stuff he does looks great though. He's just so good. I'm
a huge fan of him minus the hat, but I will say that I thought that it was kind of made sense for Priest to come in and save his buddy who looks like he's in the same classic rock cover band as he is. Like Cameron Grimes absolutely plays bass in the classic rock cover band that Damian Priest is the lead vocalist on. But the whole thing was good. I liked it, and I'm down to get more Damian Priest versus Dijak because the matches they've had have been really sick. And yeah, I'm NXT's that kind of place where there's always room for new blood in title pictures. And yeah, give me a Damian Priest versus Keith Lee match. Sure, why not?
Will Power says, coming in late was at AEW here in Kansas City tonight. Did the dad bod chant make air? I didn't hear it.
I did not hear it.
Did not hear it.
Don't know.
Weird chant. Oh, something that I just loved. William Regal backstage says, hey, take over Tampa. There's going to be a ladder match. It's going to be a top contender match. And we're going to do qualifying matches for that. That way you give a shit about a few of our matches. I love it. They should be doing this for every elimination chamber too.
Yep. The qualifying matches thing like had my heart aflutter because that's all I've been asking for on these elimination chamber stuff. Just why? Like, just because you are a woman on Raw does not mean you get to be in the Raw Women's Elimination Chamber match. Why is Sarah Logan even sniffing a title shot?
Yep.
Like, whatever. This makes a lot of sense to have, because you don't want Rhea Ripley in a match at TakeOver if she's got her giant title match versus Charlotte the next night. So you set it up so whoever wins that ladder match on Saturday, they're the next in line for whoever wins Rhea versus Charlotte, and whoever loses that is the back of the line. I'm assuming that Charlotte, if she were to lose, would not be the back of the line of NXT, would just go back to Raw. But in that case, there's so much stakes for all of these qualifying matches, and Lord knows they have enough women in NXT that like they could have a surprise. You could have a Caden Carter or somebody surprise somebody and get into that ladder match, and she could probably do a couple of cool spots. Or you could have all the top women we know deserve to be in there. The ladder match, they've already sold me on this women's ladder match. It didn't take over Tampa.
I'm ready for it.
You know, I'm just want to throw this out there. You know what? Maybe in the lead up, you know, after the women start getting their qualifiers, you know how they have, you know, when you go to WrestleMania and you point to the sign. Well, the Tampa logo is on the floor. So maybe have the wrestlers point to the floor.
A thing that I kind of skipped over, Charlotte entered the arena and she makes William Regal open the door for her. I thought that was a good touch there. Finn Balor comes out to the ring, says he's the guy in NXT, and says that he's built brands, Japan, Mexico, Intercontinental. I mean, like, half of that was utter bullshit. Like, the crowd ate it up, but I'm sitting there listening, and I'm like, really? That Intercontinental title run wasn't that great. The Universal title run barely existed.
I guess what he's saying is like, I've been that champion.
Sure.
That this is a belt I once held. Like,
yes.
Is different than being a great champion.
Imperium comes out, Barthel and Eichner, and say that, well, you haven't defeated Walter, and he'd like to send Finn his regards, and he gets beaten up. Is Finn going to be a babyface in this, or are they going to go heel?
They're doing it in Dublin. They're doing this take over in Dublin. He's a babyface.
Here's my thing. I know they're going to do it in Dublin, and they should. That is a main event for a pape, but I don't want to see him cutting babyface promos.
No, I don't. No. What he should do tonight. What he should do is what he did tonight. Come out there, be uber confident, People will respect that. Just don't demean the show you're on and demean the crowd you're speaking to. And basically all Drew McIntyre did to go from dastardly heeled, super over babyface was say the same stuff, but be happier about it and not immediately shit on the crowd.
I think he should smile and pop his collar a few times. I think that's a proven success formula.
How about not just do that? You can add the color pop back in every other week, but small doses.
Maybe he pops it and then he looks down and he's like, I'm going to put that back down.
That is nice. I like that.
Oh, boy. Wednesday night SmackDown continued with Xia Li versus Mia Yim. Xia Li looked good. Mia Yim was fine in this. I think that her character work still has a long way to go. I don't buy that character. But Xia Li looks like she's going to be something. And you want to talk about a jump from her first match, which, by the way, was in the Mae Young Classic. Definite. Dakota Kai comes out and causes a distraction because this is Wednesday Night SmackDown. And Xia Li gets the win. Raquel Gonzalez attacks Mia before taking out Xia when she tries to save her. So we're getting a tag match. Another dove cries.
I thought that what would have really helped this is if they had announced it. This is the first qualifying match for the ladder match, and then Xia gets in because she takes advantage of her sneaking a roll up was kind of weird considering that she immediately went and helped Mia Yim a second later. Mm-hmm. So if it had been for that reason, and then Mia Yim is justifiably pissed because I don't care, they haven't yet established a universal rule. If you win the match, your purse is twice as big as if you lose the match. If they do that, then that's a reason for Mia Yim to be pissed that she lost the match and for Xia Li to sneak a win. Otherwise, there's no heat between Xia Li and Mia Yim, so the whole distraction finish doesn't really work unless there's something on the line. But I'll tell you what, Raquel Gonzalez, R.I.P. Reina Gonzalez, looks really impressive. That giant choke slam thing looks really good coming from her. I mean, I don't know how green she is elsewhere, but that's a really fun move.
I'd like to see them establish a couple teams off of this. Yes, I mean, we've seen Mia Yim try to win that title. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. And Xia Li, I think, needs somebody like Mia Yim who is seasoned and has navigated the waters, so to speak. And, have Asuka and Kairi run around down there for a while, assuming they're champions after Mania.
Yeah.
Come back to a promo by Velveteen Dream. He says he wants Roderick Strong in a steel cage match next week. Cool. Austin Theory, Tommaso Ciampa. Warren, this was good, but the finish or the winner was never in doubt, right?
Well, no, but as we often like to say, it's not because the ending is predictable that that the road to isn't interesting. From what I was able to glimpse between both shows, it looked fine. It looked perfectly serviceable as far as matches go. But I mean, there was no question that Tommaso Ciampa was going to win here. But I mean, good that they're putting Austin Theory on more. That clearly they have. They're looking forward to making him a star because he has all the elements that WWE loves in their stars. So yeah, and he's like what, 22, something like that, something ridiculous like that. Sure, he's got a great career ahead of him.
Excited for Jake Atlas and Austin Theory to become everything they wanted Tino and Riddick Moss to be.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Just several inches shorter and guys that could actually work.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, Tino is back. I started the Fightful injury report 1.5 years ago. This is the first week he's not been on it. He's been out for 2 years.
Yeah.
Good for him. Really, I mean that. Good for him.
Yes.
I liked the match. This is a cool way of giving a young guy a rub going against Tommaso Ciampa, who's the grandfather of NXT at this point. People love this guy. He feels like he's been there forever. Like he spanned 2 generations. If you go back to the original DIY stuff when they were facing the revival to his turn on Gargano and then his run as champ and becoming a guy we actually root for now. Like it's a crazy line that he spanned. Like I'm pretty sure Austin Theory was like 15 years old when he debuted. Like in NXT. Like it's been a crazy long time. So I like that he's given a rub by working with this guy. And Austin Theory, there was an interesting thing that happened at the end.
Yes. Gargano comes out, brawls with Ciampa. Theory tries to get involved. To me, this screams out Theory getting a win over somebody down the line because he's involved. What says you?
I love the idea of Gargano taking Theory under his wing and like using Theory as like he's way bigger than Gargano, but he's still a small guy like comparatively. But I love the idea of Gargano like letting other dudes fight his battles for him, because this guy who comes out for a brawl dressed in a powder blue blazer, like if that's the heel we're gonna get from Johnny Gargano, okay, let's see where this goes. But he's definitely got a different that thing that he did where he sat on the apron. And instead of doing the super fast clap and the pat on the back thing that Ciampa does, he uses a slow clap, staring dead-eyed out into the audience. Like he's being ironic, dude. Okay. I mean, I'm willing to see where this goes, but I am disappointed that we're probably going to do Gargano versus Ciampa one-on-one again, except this time Johnny's the heel, as opposed to, I don't know, anything else.
Yeah.
Because
understandable.
There's so many other fresh combinations you could do.
NXT has had that habit traditionally of going to the well too many times. The thing, I mean, like, God, that whole Balor, Rude, Joe, Nakamura era, it was, I just got so tired, and you always knew the result. You always knew who was going to win that. I would like to see that disrupted a little bit. We saw the Undisputed Era disrupted, so to speak. This might be the most Undisputed Era light episode of NXT that we have seen since the move to USA. Warren, how's that make you feel? I could do for a little bit of a rest, but that being said, I feel like the show might have suffered a little bit as a result.
Well, who knows, but maybe so. Maybe it was a quieter episode of NXT because the stars weren't on, the draws weren't there. Maybe. Yeah.
No Riddle or Dunn either. Really,
no Riddle or Dunn as well. But here's the thing: is like I know we're in the NXT portion, but sometimes it you don't have to see everyone every week. Yeah. On Dynamite tonight, we did not see Cody in the ring, who is objectively speaking the most over guy in the entire company. He wasn't there, and I'm okay with that.
No Britt Baker, okay with no MJF.
Exactly. So I'm okay with them taking a break. Just like this week, we're not going to be as involved, and you're going to miss us. So that when we come back next week, well, you'll be happier to see us. We've talked about this numerous times, especially when they were in the midst of the "we're so sick of you" Roman push. Just take Roman off a couple of weeks, and then have him come back, and then we'll be a little more excited to see him rather than having the same people on TV all the time. I'm okay with that.
Well, normally I'd call this match a sirloin beef sons of bitches match, but instead I'm going to call it a bridesmaids match, because these are never the brides, always the bridesmaids. Bronson Reed, Killian Dane. Killian Dane wins. It's just, I've seen these guys get beaten with such regularity. It's like, okay, maybe something will come of it, but the track record shows me that I probably shouldn't necessarily put much stock into this match because neither one has been protected that much. Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is that weird part of the lower mid card where I don't remember if Bronson Reed won or lost his last match because it didn't matter. And this match, losing to Killian Dane, will it ultimately matter? I don't know. Yeah. Will Killian Dane ultimately gain something from winning this match? I would say yes, if only because I think they're going to put him on TakeOver UK in Dublin, because he's an Irish guy, and I feel like they're trying to get all the Irish guys on the show in some way. I don't know how. I don't know in what way. He's certainly not going to face Jordan Devlin for the Cruiserweight title. But I feel like Dana hasn't been on TV in forever. And I'm pretty sure the last time I saw Bronson Reed, he was winning a match. So it just feels like these guys are all treading water in that weird lower mid-card area. But again, that lower mid-card area is so interesting with NXT because all you got to do is let a guy win 3 matches in a row and immediately he's in title contention.
Yes.
So who knows what they're going to do with any of these people. But I thought the match was fine. I really do like Bronson Reed a lot, who, by the way, is absolutely the drummer in that fictional classic rock band that is fronted by Damian Priest. But I think that this is a really cool thing to be able to get to see these guys who we wouldn't normally see because you're given all this time to the Undisputed Era. So on a week that they're not there, we get to see 2 guys wrestle, and I thought the match was fine. But again, I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah. We're a little short on time, so let's talk about the main point, really the only one that matters, of this Forgotten Son Grizzled Young Veterans match, something you brought up on Twitter, Alex. There ain't a real reason to cheer the Forgotten Sons, so glad they didn't. And the right team won. The Grizzled Young Veterans have the upside. They're a good team. They cut good promos. I'm glad they won. Yeah.
They come out and they're laying it on extra thick, trying to get heat by saying, "Oh, everybody's a bunch of rednecks," and then basically like you've booed the Forgotten Sons since their inception as a team. You've always hated them. The fact that they get to come out and wave a flag, and you're supposed to like now they're baby faces is just lazy jingoistic bullshit. I've never been down for it, and I
guess
won't,
they didn't forget those
case.
Sons, huh?
Yeah. But okay, great. I mean, the right team won. I hope this isn't like leading to a prolonged
feud
between the Forgotten Sons, where eventually they come out on top because America. I'm not into it.
The Never Forget Sons. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Tegan Knox says that talks about her cage match. Cool.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair defeated Bianca Belair via pinfall, so we ain't getting a triple threat match. It is going to be Charlotte. It is going to be Rhea Ripley. We had a couple super chats. I think it was Hannah Moore that said, Rhea doing the stomp instead of going to the ring was a choice. Yeah, that was odd. And Rob says, did Ripley look confused at the end of NXT? She sure did, because that was weird.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, why book it?
Why have the match?
Why have the match? And considering what was on the rest of this show, kind of see why, because you needed a legit main event.
Oh, yeah.
But Andrew Thompson, Fightful alumni, brought something up on Twitter that I thought rang home pretty well. They're going to put Bianca in Braun territory, where she could be the girl, very raw. The potential is there. You could get by on accentuating the positives, hiding the negatives. But pretty soon, you're just going to have her out there going, Cricket Wireless has the nation's leading wireless network. And
she's so damned charismatic, and that counts for so much in this business. She's a license to print money. Like, she really is. Like, there's a whole subsection of fandom that you're not speaking to that you can add on to this because the people who already watch your program like her anyway. So then if you push her, you're going to add more people to it. Like, I don't understand why you would, whatever. The end, if there's no way Charlotte is hurt by losing via DQ. If she was just going to try and break her ankle with a chair anyway, do it before the pinfall, because also if Rhea was just going to come out and RUNNOFT Charlotte, then do that without it was also like a really quick, like it didn't seem like there was any build to the natural selection, which caused the pinfall anyway. Like
Trickster
Bianca Belair.
Trickster sends a super chat and says, Charlotte needs a new finisher. It's so bad. I would make that a transition move because it's too hit or miss to use as a finish.
It really is.
Alec or Warren, any thoughts on the decision to put Charlotte over Bianca? I mean, I get Charlotte winning because Mania, sure.
Right.
But it's like Bianca could be special. They don't have any desire to build people strong. They have them win one match and they go hot. They're good now. Believe us, they're good now. Your thoughts?
You were talking earlier about Killian Dane and Bronson being the bridesmaids. There you have it. That's what she is, and it is by design at this point. And I don't understand it. I really don't, because I even find I've always liked Bianca, but her work so far in late 2019, 2020 has made me much more of a believer in what she does. I don't know. There's something that happened. There's a switch. Something occurred where I think her work has been elevated. She hasn't been this good for a while. Of course, she wasn't winning Portland because they telegraphed the ending by doing the Rhea Ripley Charlotte stuff before it. And it pissed me off. But then was like, well, maybe they're going to do the triple threat. No, they've canceled that. So, and to underscore Alex's point, go to Twitter, go to any social media outlet that follows wrestling, and look at the subsection of fans that are people of color and see how they are reacting to this. Yeah. And see how they reacted to when Naomi made her return, or when Bianca started started standing up to Charlotte and so on and so forth. Why would you not want to get that fan base animated? Why would you not want to add more people to watch your programming? It's not as if the people are tuning in droves at every quarter hour.
This isn't like a subsection of marks that are happy. When Kofi Kingston won the championship, MVP cried. There's a video of WWE alumni who hadn't been there in years watching intently.
Yeah.
People of color have been grossly misbooked for decades.
Oh, yeah.
And I will argue, just real quick, I will argue that Bianca's gimmick, if you want to call it as such, is maybe a little difficult to relate for older white dudes, as opposed to, and I'm not just people of color, even younger audiences understand what she's doing. And it's not as if WWE and NXT is scoring high in the younger demos. Yeah. And there's reasons for that, yet they have the tools to do so.
They had Kazim Famuyide on their fucking writing team. Right. And I can't pretend that I'm super familiar with things that he wrote, but I can tell you what, guy's plugged in. He knows what's hot at any given point. And seems like the kind of mind that you would want around to say, you know what? This isn't good. And I'm not talking about pertaining to any certain gender, any certain race, anything like that. Just anything.
Yeah.
And
the thing about it is every dollar that you get spent on your stuff by somebody young or a person of color is extra money you have coming in, because you already locked down the middle-aged white dude fan base. They're already giving you their cash.
Evidently, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, so you can add other money by pushing extra people who aren't normally pushed by you. It's just as a business tip.
As we wrap up, we saw some vignettes, a ticking clock. We've seen Killer Kross doing the TikTok thing for quite a while, and by that I mean a clock, not the app. Although I would probably go to his TikTok.
I would watch his TikToks.
Personally, I think SmackDown needs him. I think SmackDown needs him way more, just because that brand it's a desert of top heels. It is dry. It's Beavis and Butthead walking around hallucinating in the desert. It's bad. It's rough.
Going with the 90s cartoons references, MTV cartoons again this week.
Well,
Sean.
I mean, look at some of the people on that roster, and you can see why I drew the Beavis and Butthead comparison. Like, at this point, I'm begging somebody on SmackDown to take a bite of some funky plant and hallucinate for a few weeks. Let Rob Zombie come book it like he did that movie. But Killer Kross, any quick thoughts, Warren?
wherever they decide to have him show up, he's going to be a cornerstone. He's a guy that he's the guy that has all the natural qualities. Look, SmackDown needs anything at this point. Look, I don't like to do this kind of stuff. I really don't. But you can tell right now that Raw and SmackDown are led by two different people with two very different visions. And there is one vision that is not connecting at all with what a modern wrestling audience wants. And I'm not even talking demos. I'm not even talking subsets of fans or ethnicity. I'm just talking about what we expect from a modern wrestling program. Sorry, but Mr. Pritchard is not cutting it right now.
Yeah, I would agree. Alex, any thoughts?
No, I agree that Cross would probably be well served to be on SmackDown. Anybody would be to be able to have SmackDown would be well served to have them.
Yes.
That's the opposite of what I'm saying.
I was about to cuss at you again.
No. No. They would not be well served to be on SmackDown. SmackDown would be well served to have them and use them correctly.
And they're gonna feud him with Orange Cassidy.
Yep. My hope is that if they're really gonna keep using Bianca this way in NXT, she's done there. She's reached her ceiling. But you could absolutely put her on SmackDown, and she could rule the roost over there. Mm-hmm. Like the thing that there's an article up on Fightful about how Naomi wanted to work with Bianca. Mm-hmm. Man, you could sell me on a Bianca and Naomi tag team together. They could run some shit. Yes, my pitch: bring up Io Shirai, team her with the Kabuki Warriors. Let them freebird the titles against Naomi and Bianca for a damn year. That would cornerstone the women's tag division, and it would be unmissable every time those women got in the ring together.
And SmackDown could use that, honestly. And the titles are floating, so let's do it.
Yep, exactly.
SJ Sharks Ref sends a super chat and says, Super Showdown should have been named No Way Out. Very funny. I see what you did there. Warren, tell the people where they can find you.
YouTube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. I do my own wrestling weekly wrap-up show. Turns out that it's tomorrow, Thursday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can join me live there. Or you can also follow me on Twitter at Mr. Warren Hayes.
Alex.
I am at Alex Sourgraps on the Twitter. Twice a week, belatedly, I'll talk about Raw and SmackDown. And, if they're good, I'll say it. But they're usually not good, so I say that.
You can find me at Fightful. List in Your Boy podcast was today. We had a new segment, a new Q&A segment. But hey, if you want an hour of Q&As, did it over at FightfulSelect.com today. Subscribe, show us some love. If you're in Tampa, WrestleMania week, Sean Ross Sapp, Serve Tall, presented by Primetime Pro Wrestling, April 2nd. Check out WrestleCon. I'll be there. Hope you are too. But this weekend, I'm in Chicago Saturday. It looks like I'm going to be going to Black Label Pro. So I'm going to go to Indiana after I fly to Chicago, then try to make it back to Chicago by the time AEW starts. And I'm hoping to stream the scrums live on youtube.com/Fightful. Until next time, guys, I gotta piss.